It's never too early for Lowe's Black Friday deals. Snag some of our biggest savings of the season right now, like 25% off select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees. And get yourself free select DeWalt, Cobalt, or Craftsman tools when you buy a select battery or combo kit before the Black Friday rush. Because everyone loves free stuff, right? Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 12/3 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
God, that was terrible.
We're getting our asses kicked out there.
Yeah, because McCormick here can't catch a Pringle pass.
What'd you say, Daniels? Hey, quit talking. Sit your asses down now. You just don't get it, do you? This ain't about you. It's not. It's about the team. It's about pulling together to win at all costs. If we don't have that, we don't have nothing. And if we don't have nothing, how the hell are we going to win a football game? Coach Allen, you got anything to add?
Coach is right. I hope y'all listened to what he said. Only thing I'll add is some of you still owe me $20 for the jerseys. So how about when we go back out there, some of you run and go talk to your mom and dad. Tell them Coach Allen still needs the $20 for the jerseys. Coach.
Okay. We're 8 weeks into the season. Every game matters now. No excuses.
That's right, 8 weeks. 8 weeks in, and still some of you have not got me the $20 for the jersey. It's not going to go away. Like, I'm not going to forget. I wrote it down. Go ahead, Coach.
Okay. Good. Really good. A little more logistical than I like to get into at halftime, so maybe we talk about it another time.
The One Star Cowboys podcast here for you. The Falcons preview episode. I'm Kevin Turner. Oh, we have John Machota, Saad Youssef, Kent Garrison here as well. As always, getting ready for the Cowboys and the Birds. About to go through the Bird Gauntlet, boys. We got Falcons and Eagles 2 weeks in a row. That's not the full Bird Gauntlet, but it's part of it. Going through it. It's real quick before we start. Well, we are started. Are we getting any dogs back? Because it feels like Cowboys team philosophy. Once we get our horses back, look out for this freight train. Look out. Trade deadline, who needs it? We're getting healthy. What's a scoop, John?
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense to use that as an example of we're getting guys back. So it's going to be sold to us over the next week or two of that's who they traded. That was their trades, the guys they're getting back. And I could even somewhat get on board with that. But then there's this thing called, and this is crazy, so buckle up. Other players can still get hurt.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you get your hurt guys back and then it's like, finally, now everybody's healthy for the rest of the season. Like we've seen this today. Like, we're sitting there and we're thinking that this going into this morning's press conference, like, okay, it's about how far away is Micah Parsons from coming back? How far away is Deron Bland? And then you get the little curveball in there. Well, Trayvon Diggs isn't going to be at practice right now either. So it's like, because of that, it's great that you're going to get Micah back eventually and Marshawn Nealon and Brandon Cooks and maybe DeMarcus Lawrence eventually, whatever. But that doesn't mean that other guys aren't going to get hurt. So I don't know how that's just going to, fix everything. But it doesn't sound good for Micah this week. And I think Deron Bland is heading the right direction. But those are the two main ones. I think Trayvon Diggs will end up playing too. But I don't see Micah going this one.
Yeah, also to add on to that point, what John is saying, I mean, the last time I checked, Micah Parsons, Marshawn Nealon, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Brandon Cooks were on the field when the Saints game happened. They were on the field when the Ravens game happened. So getting them back is supposed to be an upgrade to what exactly? I mean, to the Lions game and I guess the 49ers game, but those two games happen, the Saints and Ravens, with all of those players on the field. And by the way, this is not a new philosophy being sold to us by the Cowboys. This was the same thing that was told to us. I mean, I remember I was at the Combine when it was just like DeMarvion Overshown is the big signing in free agency. What do you mean we didn't do anything? Look at DeMarvion Overshown. He didn't play last year, so he's coming back. Like, they do this all the time where it's the guys that were hurt are coming back and those are upgrades. That's not properly upgrading any roster, adding anything to your personnel or anything like that. And so, yeah, no, I totally agree with what John's saying. It also doesn't discount the fact that other players will get hurt, but forget that. Say everyone stays healthy. I still don't think this is a team that's like ready to go on a roll and just like, go on a deep playoff run just because you get Micah and Lawrence and Nealon back.
And some of this goes back to the offseason too. We talked ad nauseum about this on this show, but the whole like how many times Jerry kept bringing up the all in thing, and how I would always say like I don't think he understands how bad the PR look is on him constantly saying this, because it's only going to make things worse down the line. And that's the thing, because there isn't a huge difference about what the Cowboys are doing and the way that kind of the Green Bay Packers go about business. I mean, for a long time, the Packers were winning Super Bowls, and they've been in contention for a long time. And they aren't a team that makes big splash moves, generally speaking, in the offseason. And that's just the way they go about it. But they don't have somebody that's constantly on the mic talking about how, no, this offseason, we're going to be all in. We're going to be doing, get ready. It like teases fans into thinking that things are about to happen that aren't going to happen. And it just makes people angrier.
The expectations are set as great. We don't need someone talking about what the expectations are, and it doesn't ever sway from that. And it's like that in Pittsburgh. It's like that. Baltimore's a pretty safe place.
Yeah,
but it's like there's no outside noise that players have to go play, coaches have to go coach. It all comes down to that. It's a never-ending conversation. That's part of it. Right.
It's similar. Yeah. I mean, it goes across all sports though, right? Like, I mean, it's the same thing with the Lakers and the Yankees. Like you go to any of these flagship organizations in any of these leagues. Now, of course, if you're in that transition phase, like between Kobe and LeBron's Lakers, like now no one's expecting, but if you have Kobe, if you have LeBron, the expectation is always going to be there to be a deep team in the NBA playoffs. Like that's what it is. If you have a quality roster for the New York Yankees, you're supposed to go win it all. Like Dodgers, same thing. Like this is, if you're a Cowboys team that has a franchise quarterback and a few other good pieces, the expectation is always to be good. You don't really have to emphasize that.
I just wanted to wrap up the rest of the injuries, just to give people an update here. Also want to mention on the Trayvon Diggs thing, it's a calf. He's got a sore calf he's been dealing with that was coming out of the game, he said. So he's been getting treatment. I think that he's still on track to play. But that would be one notable one. Even though he's not injured, he's on the injury list. That's Brandon Aubrey. His jury duty came to an end today, so he should be back out there on Thursday.
They laid down the law on that dude, too. 65 years.
Right, to match his longest kick.
Yeah,
there you go.
I'm not so sure he's guilty.
I guess he wouldn't be involved in the sentencing technically. And
my Toby Flinderson.
Sounds like he was a bad dude.
Back to the injury report. Deron Bland's still dealing with the foot. He did not practice, but again, we saw him on the resistance cords. It appears that he's getting closer to getting back on the field. Obviously, there had to be some type of a setback because it looked like he was on track to play against the Lions, and all of a sudden now here we are 3 weeks removed. So anyway, Kalen Carson was full. He'd been dealing with the shoulder injury, so that was a good sign there. Linval Joseph dealing with a back issue. He did not practice. Zach Martin, shoulder issue. He did not practice. And one other one I wanted to note. Eric Kendricks was limited, so it looks like he's on. Zach Martin usually gets, veteran days here or there, but those will say rest on the injury report, and this doesn't say that on this one. This one says Zach Martin did not practice, shoulder. So,
okay,
yeah,
probably not good to not have him out there if that was the case. I know he hasn't been playing great, but it's probably still better to have him out there.
And two more quick things on the injury front. This is the last game that Cooks and DeMarcus Lawrence are both required to be out. Neither looks like they're going to return, the following week against the Eagles. It doesn't appear that way at all. But just for logistical purposes, this is the final game after going on IR after the Giants game that Cooks and Lawrence are out. And yeah, I mean, for Micah, it's interesting because they didn't place him on IR. And when you don't place him on IR, you think that means you're going to miss less than 4 games. But if Micah misses this week, then he'll be out for 4 straight weeks. So, yeah.
No, this is and I like to time check things too when we give injury updates. We are recording this on Wednesday evening, so if something changes by the time you all get your ears on this podcast, Just know that we're recording this on the Devil's Night, Wednesday, October 30th, 8:45. Hope everyone has a happy Halloween. Drive slowly, people. Okay. Kids are going to be out. Drive slowly. I want to play I have two short pieces of audio I want to play for you guys. One is from the broadcast that I pulled for my radio show over on the Eagle, 3 to 6 p.m., by the way. This is something that Collinsworth said that really caught my eye. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I got to turn my thing up here. Here we go.
Somehow, some way, they turned that into a first down. Good idea, though, to get Turpin the ball. We know from Kyle Shanahan that was probably the thing he was most worried about, the kick returns of Turpin.
Okay, that's not a good sign. But the opposing coach is like, we're really the most concerned about your special teams. The kick returns.
Yeah, I mean, I do think he is one of the most dangerous returners in the game. So maybe that's what he was talking about, that's the part he's most concerned about. Yeah, I guess.
I also don't know if you're a head coach that's that concerned about the kickoff returner, just kick the ball out of the end zone. Like it's really not that difficult. You're giving up an extra 5 yards.
I just thought it made me laugh because it was at that point in the game too. And that when that happened, we were third quarter and we were 27-10. And I was like, oh God, yeah, they're worried about the kick returner rather than this, dynamic offense.
Maybe it's just something that he really hammered home in their pre-production meetings where he's like, man, we cannot let this Turpin kid beat us in the kick game. That's the one spot where, in their playoff game, he did have that one where it's like it could have been the difference in that game if he ends up breaking that thing. And so, and he is well respected in the return game around the league. I wonder if Shanahan had any thought that he would be so impactful it's targeted in the passing game as he was in that game. But I know the Cowboys think highly of him in the passing, and they think that they really have someone there that they can develop into a quality wide receiver. So I think that would come up if you said to them, for example, I think not a lot of people, but I thought, the Deontay Johnson trade that just recently happened with the Panthers. I thought Adam Schefter brought up a good point of how I think they gave up it was like a pick swap, like a fifth, and then they got a sixth and Deontay Johnson back. Regardless, Deontay Johnson's contract's up at the end of the year, so you don't sign him. He signs somewhere else. You'll get a comp pick off of that in the following year's draft. And so that's the type of move that if they were all in, why wouldn't you try that? You don't know what's going on. They know, but you don't know when Cooks is going to be back to his old self. Jalen Tolbert's been fine. Yeah, if at all. Jalen Tolbert's been fine, but he probably slots in better as a number 3 receiver. And you haven't been able to get the same production in the passing game from Jake Ferguson, probably because he's got to stand and block a little bit more. So, when you see a move like that, that's not that big of a swing, and they're not even involved in something like that, those are the ones that really make you go, yeah, let's not talk about the all-in thing anymore.
It's debilitating, honestly. I mean, that and not just that one. That was one that makes sense. It's cheap. He cost you nothing.
Yeah.
Cost you literally nothing. So we're not trying to improve it. So, it's frustrating.
Like our guys.
Well,
or as he asked the guys on the fan, where do you think you're going to go get some guys right at this point in the season?
How about the teams who are falling out of it?
Like on the phone?
Literally trading everyone. The Jaguars trade to the left tackle. What are we doing?
I just want to be
DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams.
I just want to be accurate on this. So for Deontay Johnson, the Ravens sent a 5th round pick to the Panthers for Johnson and Carolina's 6th. So
I already got something back for it anyways, too.
Yeah.
Sort of. It's just, it's frustrating. Okay, so as I'm watching
more clips.
I got one more, yeah. As I'm watching NBC5, I'm sitting there and right after the game, they're in McCarthy's post-game press conference because they always air 2 minutes of it, and then they transition back to the desk. But then we go live out to Texas Live, where we had a big watch party. Okay, now think about this. People on Sunday nights have been drinking all day or partying or whatever. They're ready for Cowboys 49ers. And then this happens. This is Katie Blakey over at NBC5 talking to some Cowboys fans. And the guy at the end says something to me that really, it hammers it all home.
Hi, Brian and Brittany. Well, you can see behind me, the bark cleared out pretty fast. Fans not in the best mood leaving Texas Live tonight. But, they had a great crowd out here this evening, as they always do. They got excited with that Zeke touchdown early on in the game, but honestly, by the third quarter, it's like the energy had just been taken out of the room. We started to see fans leave. Fans tell us that the Cowboys right now just do not have it together. Take a listen.
Jerry, do better.
What have been the highlights for you tonight? That's never good when you can't think.
Yeah, you can't think of no good highlights though. I mean, the running game has stepped up a lot tonight.
But that's about it.
That's about it. No defense. It's just a bad night. We'll be back though.
We'll be back though.
There's a perception that the running game stepped up. That's good.
Yeah, that one 11-yard carry from Zeke.
Yeah, that one.
It does water down the fact that the other carries are like 9 carries for 23 yards. Oh man.
I will say, being someone that used to go out to that stadium quite a bit before Texas Live, and now with Texas Live there, it is such a game changer. It is a great time. I mean,
it's awesome.
You obviously got to, like on game days, you got to pay to get in and all that. But if you're not going to a game or you're going somewhere to pre-game or go after the game, it's a good spot.
The end of that clip that you played reminded me of that Eagles fan, "Fly Eagles Fly," the little glasses thing.
Yep.
That's what he sounded like. We got to get it together though.
We'll be back.
We'll be back next week though.
Yeah, we will. I mean, look, I don't know. It's just.
How about this one for you? I mean, you've obviously been there. You know, that place gets packed. It's stadium seating type deal. You would think right now at halftime, yes, we'll say halftime of that game, that if Jerry Jones walked in there, he would get booed. And I'm not certain that he would.
I don't think he would either.
Yeah.
I think he would be celebrated.
And the only reason I point that out is because I don't think that would be the case in other sports cities.
I don't either.
But maybe there'd be a spattering of boos.
Did Raiders fans turn on Al Davis?
That's a good question.
I hate doing the Al Davis comparison to Jerry, but because okay, larger than life football figure here, Yeah. it's not like there's a ton of those guys. It's part of the thing that makes Jerry unique, right? There's not that many of those guys. And you know what? At 10-6, maybe that's not that big of a deal. After the third quarter, he walks in. I don't know. I think people will just go, "Oh, it's Jerry." I don't know, man. And
okay.
I don't even
with the hate that they have for Jerry right now. If he moved the team, because you said Al Davis, so it made me think of this. Would all of Cowboys fans follow the team wherever it went? And this is predicated on Dallas would get another NFL team, or would they just be like, "Hey, we're happy to just cheer on the new team"?
That would be.
That's a fascinating scenario.
That is, and not realistic at all.
Yeah, it's not.
No, absolutely. Yeah,
Jerry's got the old team, and Jerry moves away with the old team. I think they root for the new team with the new owner.
The only reason why, though, I wouldn't be like, I could see most not doing that is because it's still the Dallas Cowboys, and I think there are a lot of people that aren't from Dallas that are obsessed with that team that would be just as much fan. It's kind of like Yankees or Lakers fans, like that never even have been to LA or New York, but they've always liked that. So I think even if Jerry moved the team to Vegas or Los Angeles or something like that, I still think that they would have so many of those, your traditional Cowboys fans still be fans of the team because of that. But I'm just saying right now, it's at least questionable because of the fact of how much passion fans have against him, at least what I see on social media.
Yeah, I think the margin would just be lower, but I still think they'd be far and away the top. I think the margin would be lower, but I think the more fascinating thing in that scenario would also be like 10 years from now, because like, I know it's been 30 years, but people like young people's parents still remember the dynasty, but like
right.
10 years later, like you're going to be a 40-year-old that doesn't remember any success. And so your kids aren't even going to.
The one thing I will say, and maybe I'm just thinking about this right now, because obviously as we record this, the Yankees are playing, is there is something about the Cowboys star that goes well above, just like the Yankees logo and the Yankees hat, that goes well above people even knowing the history of Joe DiMaggio and Mickey Mantle, that they're just like, no, I just like the Yankees, man. Like the Yankees are my team. my dad bought me a Yankees hat when I was a kid, and so that's just always been my team. Like there is something about the Cowboys brand that I think resonates with people that never knew them even as a Super Bowl winning team. And that scenario though is more interesting to me than the whole sports mayor moving another team into Dallas, and now people jump off the bandwagon because even if they did for a little bit, as soon as the Cowboys got hot, I mean, it would just be like we've seen it whenever the Cowboys have been good. I mean, obviously the city is obsessed with them when that happens. So I don't know. They're not moving, by the way, people.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's interesting hypothetical for sure.
All right, well, hey, since we're doing hypotheticals, I'll throw this one out right now too. Then, what teams other than who would be above the Cowboys in terms of would never move in the NFL? Because I can't think of any.
Packers.
I would assume maybe Green Bay because of no owner, but
absolutely that one jumps in for sure.
Maybe the Patriots, just because.
Definitely not higher than the Cowboys.
No, you did. You said other than
Packers
the
and Steelers. Oh no, I meant that would be above. I'm saying that that you think have more staying power than the Cowboys in terms of staying would never go to another spot.
Yeah, none.
Yeah, no,
I would say the Steelers and Packers are the first two that I thought about.
Yeah,
I think the Jags.
What about if I threw it out to all of sports?
All of sports.
All of sports? Lakers for sure.
Yankees.
Lakers, Yankees. That's the problem. Is the Cowboys are the Lakers and Yankees of football. in our lives,
Toronto Maple Leafs are probably not going anywhere.
All of our lives are more interesting because of it.
Yeah.
I mean, even as me speaking candidly as a Packers fan who just loves these effing games when the Cowboys and Packers play different times. I just love it. Okay. This is an amazing ride that we're on here. For me, just following the Cowboys.
Jerry,
it's a pleasurable thing for me. Even when they're losing, it's great.
Hey, you know how you said about this is all your fault. Wherever I take this, I just want you to know, KT, this is your fault. 'Cause you brought up the L. Davis thing. It gets so bad where Jerry just gets crazier and crazier with some of his answers on the radio and stuff like that. He threatens to move the team. If it's going to be this negative,
only move it to Lubbock.
No,
you can only move it to Frisco. I mean,
I'll tell you what would be the one. It's probably the place that they would be playing their next overseas game, and that would be Mexico City.
Whoa, that would be dope.
No chance.
No, there's no chance.
I'm just saying, that it would not be another U.S. city because the NFL is all about trying to grow globally. And so eventually a team's going somewhere else outside of the U.S. But I'm just saying, I know that there's no chance, but I'm just saying that what if it got so crazy with Jerry that because we saw it get up there with Al that all of a sudden he starts saying wild stuff like that on the radio.
I can see
or after games
buying another team if they were going to expand into Europe or put a team in London or Mexico or something. I could see Jerry saying, "All right, Steven, here's $2 billion, go run that team and, be its owner or whatever." And kind of having it as a side project and a money-making venture for the Jones family. But I can't see Jerry ever leaving the Cowboys, ever moving them out of Dallas.
No, but I will say, I will say the one thing that I could see is moving them back to Dallas. That I could see at some point. Maybe not
that.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean with the stadium?
Yeah.
Oh, it'll be Frisco or north before I think it goes back to Dallas.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. I meant out of Arlington, Fort Worth area back to the Dallas area, like it was Irving and stuff. I could see that for sure. Yeah,
I would go north of the tollway, north of Frisco or north, just because of everybody talks about how much land Jerry owns along that way. So
they own Collin County.
I thought you meant my bad side. I thought you meant in actual downtown Dallas.
Oh, no.
I could see him going to Russia. You can see that.
All right, this has gone way off the rails.
You know what is funny though? I see from time to time because thinking of them moving to Dallas or whatever. Next time you're at the airport, go into one of those shops where they have snow globes. It always cracks me up of how it's obviously AT&T Stadium is a notable people know it. They put that thing right next to it. They smash it in there it's right across the street from Reunion Tower. It is funny to look at it though, because it makes you think wow, I didn't realize. And also it does make you think how cool it would be if they did have that crazy looking stadium with the Dallas skyline. But sorry, go on.
I want to get off of this.
We took this way too far. Sorry.
But I did think about Mark Cuban for a minute, and he has, very little, if any, say on the Mavs anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But that whole walking into a bar because there were people who were unhappy with Mark Cuban for years about Mavs not doing anything in free agency.
To his face, though?
No, because he is bigger than all of it.
Yeah.
Bigger than any sports feeling you had,
I think there's a better chance of you walking up to Mark Cuban and trying to pitch him a product than to boo him or something.
But Cuban was also, I would argue, the most accessible owner in all of sports, and I'm not talking to the media. I think Jerry probably is there. I'm talking about like anybody could email Mark Cuban and he was replying to him. So I think,
look at where he sits at, he still sits there like at games. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you can't just walk up there, but there's a decent chance if you wanted to, you could buy a decent seat and walk up and say something to him. And if you said the right thing that piqued his interest, I can see him having a conversation with a fan,
Yeah, no doubt.
Crap talked the uniforms one year and he slid in my DMs.
Hell yeah.
So he'll come at
he'll come at you, yeah.
Come at you, bro.
Not anymore.
I don't know. Keep talking about the uniforms, Ken. See what happens.
Yeah, Ken.
I learned my lesson. He was very upset.
Let's talk birds. The Falcons. The Falcone family. That's a Penguin reference. I don't know if you guys are caught up on HBO. Yeah, good show. Wouldn't even know it's in the Batman universe, believe it or not. You really wouldn't. They are kind of the opposite than the Cowboys in terms of the games they've played this year because pretty much all of their games have been close. I'm going to read this off to you guys. Here we go. Lost week 1 to the Steelers by 8. They beat the Eagles by 1. Lost to the Chiefs by 5. Beat the Saints by 2. Beat the Bucks in OT by 6. Beat the Panthers by 18. Lost to Seattle by 20. Those are the outlier games. They beat the Bucks last week by 5. 6 close games, 5-3. Meanwhile, the Cowboys games, it feels like outside the Steelers game, and I guess if you want to throw in last week, you could say that was a close. Yeah, technically it was. It was a 1-score game. But they played a lot of nail biters. We've had a lot of games where you're yawning in the second half, even the win over Cleveland, It's a little different there. When do you guys get down at all with the stat of point differential? Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, I think it's a good indicator. A decent one. I wouldn't base everything off of it, but I think it's a good indicator of a good team.
Definitely not a black and white stat for sure. Little gray area here, but I thought this was fun. Well, not fun. It's going to look bad. Because of all those close games, the Falcons have a -1 point differential. Do you guys want to guess the Cowboys point differential?
Counting the Detroit game and
it's minus
-70?
69. Yeah.
Okay. A little lower.
Yeah, I was going to say 32.
Okay, it's -48.
Okay.
So in terms of point differential in the NFC, just to give you like how indicative this might be, who do you guys think is the best team in the NFC right now based on what you've seen?
Lions.
Detroit.
Lions. There you go. +100. All right.
But that's just off the last game.
Sorry. Well, yeah, that helped there for sure.
No, and the Cowboys game, obviously.
Through, 8 games, just kind of count of 3. Second best team in the NFC to you.
You know what's sad, though? The Cowboys looked worse than the Titans, in my opinion, against the Lions.
That Titans game, I don't know. There were a couple.
Funniest part about the Lions game was they scored 9 points against the Lions. That's like a college team playing against an NFL team level. 9.
Well, and it really showed just in special teams on how many big returns they gave up that just you don't see in the NFL nowadays. So that was the part that really kind of stood out from that game more than anything. Yeah, where
defense, it got shredded by Ben Johnson. That happens, but like to score 9 points in an NFL game.
Yeah,
the Commanders are 2 at +69.
Okay,
then the Vikings, then the Packers, then the Bears, Eagles, 49ers, Bucks. Last in the NFC in point differential is your Panthers at -147. Then the Giants at -58. Then the Cowboys at -48. Third worst in the NFC.
That's interesting though, because when you asked, it made me think to myself, like what teams would you least want to play in the NFC? I was thinking of it from a playoff standpoint, because when you said like, okay, I said Lions 1, who would be 2? To me, it's San Francisco when they have their guys back. Not the San Francisco team we saw Sunday night, but when they get McCaffrey back, I think that would still be there. The Packers are really there for me too, and I still put the Eagles up there. Should I? Am I overrating them?
I'm kind of out on the Eagles right now, but
why? What are you most out on them about?
I just think from a coaching standpoint, it just always seems like, like I'm not saying they don't have, they do have good players, but I just feel like you go up against a good coach and a good, game plan and things like that. It just seems like they always fall flat when it comes to that. But I mean, I'd still take them over the Cowboys right now.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Cowboys, I mean, going into the season, I had the Cowboys firmly in that top 4. I had them, right below like the Lions. Okay, so we'll say top 5. I had them right below the Lions and 49ers, but I had them right there with the Packers and Eagles. Like I thought they'd be there. And Vegas would have backed me up on that. They were always 3 or 4 in the odds to win the NFC going into the season. And we've been doing this newsletter, something that we've started out now at The Athletic this week. We're going to be doing it going forward. We're doing it 4 days a week. And the one I did recently, I mentioned about how the Cowboys have fallen all the way down to 9th now in those odds to win the NFC. I mean, it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And KT, you're talking about plus minus. I'm just going to plug a story that I did real quick. That's going to come out Thursday morning. And I did an analysis of the 2021 through 2023 seasons. And I broke it down just like in all these different like ways of like wins against non-playoff teams and playoff teams. And so one of the bullet points that I actually did was I did the point differentials in 6 categories each season against playoff teams and non-playoff teams. The only time the Cowboys came out in a negative point differential was 2023 against playoff teams. They were a -16. All the other ones versus playoff teams and non-playoff teams, 2021, 22, and 23, they were positive and plus minus like point differential. So it was interesting because they like win big and the thing is like overall they were like 24-5, I think, against non-playoff teams in those years, but 11-11 against playoff teams. But when they win, a lot of times they win really big. Like you think back to that Vikings game, 40-3, and like, some of the Eagles games and 33-13, like they win big. Like 5 of their 11 wins against playoff teams in those years were by 20 points or more. So like the point differential thing is also interesting because when the Cowboys get rolling and they're winning, even against good teams, they run it up. But then they also fall flat sometimes.
I remember last year's regular season almost felt a little boring because there weren't a ton of close games. And, it's just, it's a strange thing right now. 'Cause, like this is the problem. I think there's a million problems, but you don't get the feeling watching them. Like if you came up with whatever stat you wanted to, that they are better than that. And you have to really, if you didn't know what had happened the last 3 years here of 12 wins in the regular season, you'd be like, this team sucks. Like you would say but because we know they've won 12 games the last 3 years and McCarthy's got a winning track record and so does Dak and all this stuff, you're kind of like, okay, well, they're going to snap into it. And my fear is they're not, because whatever we want to say about how serious we are about the Eagles, time to talk about the Falcons now. Whatever you think, they're better than you are. Now you can't go win, but
I agree with that. But also because of like what you said about Dak, and obviously we've seen it with like CD and Micah, the level that they've played at is also why if it keeps heading this direction and there's an all-out coaching change in the offseason, like it's not that crazy to see them have a bounce back year next year.
No.
You tell me they have like a different coaching staff, they're doing different things, that they have another draft. I would think that with the new coaching staff, they would spend a little bit, not crazy, but add some pieces that better fit that system. Like I don't look at them like I look at like a Carolina or Tennessee, where you're just like, well, who knows where that thing's headed? Like this could be bad for a while or something like that. Like there is a part of me, I'm like, well, I understand the criticisms of Dak. If you don't believe that he can win a Super Bowl and all that stuff, that's fine. But the fact of like this team could win 6 or 7 this year and then go back to winning 10 games next year is not something that I'm just like, yeah, well, that's not happening. That's impossible. Like it wouldn't even surprise me that much if you moved in another direction and obviously made the right hire.
Look at the Falcons. Kirk Cousins been the first month was a little shaky, but new offensive system and all that stuff. Drake London has become a clear wide receiver 1. Not talking about him the same way you talk about CD or St. Brown or whatever, or Jamar Chase, whatever. He's top 5 in the league in touchdown receptions, and he's a really good player. Darnell Mooney has revitalized his career. Kyle Pitts is starting to become a weapon, and even though he's not your traditional tight end, plays kind of big wide receiver type of ball as well. We're coming off a game where Kittle just got 130 on the Cowboys. The offense scares me. Oh yeah, I didn't mention they have 2 running backs who can ball, and Bijan and Tyler Algier. So, man, we'll see if we get Micah and Ron Bland back and get a little help, but me nervous.
So I want to ask you guys this because this might be just a looking too much into fantasy football, but I'm interested in your guys' take on this. Like, I do expect the Falcons to win. I know we're going to make predictions later, so I'm not saying that they're, and I can see these players playing well, but from my perspective of, let's say, 2 years ago, I expected more out of Bijan and Kyle Pitts. Like that when they drafted both of those players. Now Kyle Pitts is in year 4, Bijan's only year 2. But when they drafted those players, those are the type of moves that, like, if you're a fan of that franchise, you immediately go and buy their jersey, and you're just all excited about. And they're guys that you just think are like, because it's not only are they good players, but they're the ones that can make like the wow plays that you're just like, oh, we're going to be all over the highlights every Sunday. For me, they haven't met those expectations. How do you guys feel about them? Just those 2 guys.
For me, I totally agree, and I feel stronger about that with Kyle Pitts. Maybe it is because of the time that's gone by, but I just remember the pre-draft. It was just like this like a freak and all this stuff. And when there were already good tight ends in the league, and there was so much hype, I felt that about Pitts all along, and I thought maybe this year might change with Kirk Cousins, but I mean, and Bijan too, but I'll give Bijan a little bit more time. But yeah.
This is what happens when you get, I agree, but this is what happens when you get Arthur Smith, because I think it's a big part of it. And there was no reason for Bijan to not get as many carries as he got last year. And even this year, they're like, they still haven't gone like fully in his direction. But I do think it's a situation too where they may be just going, hey, might be a guy that we give another contract. Now, I don't want to give him too much credit and think they're thinking that far ahead, but they might be like, this might be a guy that we do give a contract to. So maybe don't burn him out on his rookie deal. But it's very fascinating. Now, his usage has gone up this year, but last year it was almost 50-50 split or less at times. And there's a reason Arthur Smith was let go, but you get a quarterback that changes things too. It's amazing. I mean, Kyle Pitts is a really good example of what can happen to you when you get an actual quarterback instead of playing with Desmond Ridder. It's just what Drake London.
That's a good point. Dude, that's a good point.
It's
getting out of the Arthur Smith offense too. I wasn't helping him.
It's all new.
Like come alive this year. It feels like.
Yeah, and Kirk Cousins is now. He doesn't move. He's not like Dak. Right? I mean, he's a lot like Dak. He doesn't move anymore. He will take off. He had a big 13-yard run the other day. It was huge in that game over the Bucks. But like, it's one of those things where you sit there and go, okay, I don't like this right now. And it's not because of the player. It's because of the offensive scheme. I 100% believe this. I 100 and the weapons around him. Okay. Personnel too. Right now, Kirk Cousins is better than Dak. Effing Baker Mayfield's better than Dak right now. And that sucks to say. I don't like saying that. Jalen Hurts, all I'm going to say, he's better than Dak right now. And I don't like it, but it is what it is right now.
It is. I will say in this, and I'm a person that, believe me, I was critical of Dak sitting up watching that game next to Saad. There was plenty of stuff we talked about he just wasn't good enough at all in San Francisco. With that being said, there's so much around him that isn't going well. And considering how much I watch of the Cowboys and the Lions, like, Jared Goff has not put in many situations where you're just like, how did he pull that rabbit out of the hat? Now, there's some. I mean, he's playing great. But that confidence comes from you got a good offensive line, you got 2 good backs, you got a good passing game, like the defense is playing well. Like there is a confidence that comes with that we've seen Dak play with, but it's just very clear right now he's trying to make stuff happen because there just isn't anything happening. And so that's where you get like a couple of those interceptions, and really probably the majority of his interceptions this season is you can tell he's pressing, trying to make something happen because you really feel like it's almost like when you watch the Lions, it's like if they were to go 3 and out, you kind of feel confident like, yeah, but on the next series, the series after that, they're going to put together a big drive. I feel like when I watch Dak play in this offense, it's like, I got to hit something big on one of these plays because there's no guarantee that we're not going to go 3 and out like 4 series in a row,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for me watching Dak this year, the most disappointing thing hasn't been the plays that he hasn't made in a positive way, but it really has been the negative ones. Like that fumble, I think it was against the Steelers in the red zone, like where he just like clearly just held onto the ball way too long. And TJ Watt's on the other side. Then you had the red zone interception, the first interception that Brian Branch had for the Lions, the one this last game in the third quarter. Like there's too many of these where they're just like really, really bad. And I think those are things that are more disappointing to me than like, why hasn't he run the ball as well? Or why hasn't he thrown as many touchdowns? Like those are problems too, but those are far down my list than to the ones that he's making that are hurting the team.
No, there's no doubt. And it's like, this probably doesn't get changed because it doesn't look like they're going to do anything. You can get Brandon Cooks back. This is probably what it looks like this year. And the offensive line hasn't been great. The tackles have been, for the most part, bad. And I think we almost all want to give a free pass to Tyler Guyton, although I don't know that we should, but maybe. Terrence Steele,
Let me also say this.
He's been terrible. The right guard hasn't been good. This thing of like Zach is compromised. Clearly, he has not been great.
Let me also say this: when the Cowboys have made notable moves like trades, it's usually when you expect it least. And they really don't look like they would be a team that would make a move at all.
Yeah.
But as much as they needed a wide receiver, did anybody really think it was going to be on the level of Amari Cooper and giving up a 1 for him? Like when they make moves like it very rarely is this has been on ESPN and speculation and things like that. It usually comes kind of out of like, whoa, I didn't expect that one to happen. And so that is one thing that it would be kind of fascinating if they were sandbagging here and they ended up making some type of a move at the trade deadline where you're like, whoa. And the only other reason why I'm just throwing it out there, I don't expect this to happen, but the only other reason I'm throwing it out there is let's not forget Jason Garrett's final season. Like they made sure to get that Zeke contract done so Zeke would be on the field to give Garrett every chance to possibly show that he deserved, that he should be that coach. And they have not done that for Mike McCarthy. And so it would be interesting to see them downplay the whole trade deadline, and then all of a sudden they make like some notable move. And I wrote a story about it for what is today? Wednesday morning for The Athletic about the 5 most important positions, or the 5 that would be the best to target. And tops on the list were running back and defensive tackle, and then I had offensive line, pass catcher, and then safety. The problem is that there isn't like one spot that if they made a trade for a player, would you be like, oh yeah, this fixes everything, Yeah. Like with the Lions, you're just like, yeah, if they made a trade for like Myles Garrett or Max Crosby, I mean, they're the favorite to go to the Super Bowl, no question. There's not that one player you really look at the Cowboys and you're like, oh, if they did that,
And this is where we are, right? This is where we are. So
Mahomes, maybe.
You're 3 and 4.
Okay. I stand corrected.
You're 3 and 4. Try to get to 500.
What would it take, Kent? What do you think they'd have to give up?
Do you know how many people who don't follow the team like we do will ask me about, oh yeah, you're working in the NFL, yeah. So how do you think the Cowboys can get Patrick Mahomes? Like they actually think that could happen. I'm like,
oh wow, I've never been asked that. That's fascinating.
But yeah, I've been asked it multiple times by like family, friends, people that just kind of watch the Cowboys on Sunday. and then they'll watch the Super Bowl and they'll see Mahomes and they'll be like, well, why can't Jerry just go get him? It's very funny.
The closest the Cowboys have come to get Patrick Mahomes is Aiden Diggs, mistaken Dak for Patrick Mahomes.
Or if he buys the team from Steven.
I would say let this 10-year contract run up and then maybe you have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, yeah, if there was any hope, if that's really what you want, it would have to be like one of those like Peyton Manning type of at the end of their career type things. And we've seen it with all the top quarterbacks. So
Tom Brady.
If he was if he was to leave Kansas City, and the Cowboys needed a quarterback at that time, I would think the Cowboys would be near the top of his list of places he'd want to go, especially if you're talking about it's now year 36 since the Cowboys have last been in the NFC Championship game. Like, that would be wild. And he's already won like 5 titles with Kansas City or something. I guess, you can't completely rule it out just because, all of the top quarterbacks all have, I never thought I'd see Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. I never thought I'd see Joe Montana with the Chiefs. I never thought I'd see Peyton Manning with the Broncos. So, yeah, I guess it's possible. I just don't think it would happen anytime in the next 5 or 6 years.
Let's get the picks going. I'm 4-3. I have it Atlanta 28, Dallas 16. Don't feel great about this game, guys. I'm sorry. I wish I did, Cowboys fans. I don't see it. 28-16. We'll go to another guy who's 4-3, Kent Garrison.
Cowboys are not having fun playing the game of football right now. I think I've come to realize that over the last 2 weeks. They're not having fun in life in general. You know who is having fun playing the game of football right now? The Atlanta Falcons. So I'm taking Atlanta 23-13.
All right. John Machota, also 4-3.
So I just realized this. I've only picked the Cowboys to win 2 games this year.
Oh, yeah, and you were almost right.
I picked them to beat the Saints, and I picked them to beat the Giants.
We all get that one right.
And this will not be the third one. I'm also going with the Falcons. The line is only 2.5. I expect it to be somewhat of a
yeah, I was like, huh? Okay.
I thought it'd be a little bit higher than that. It's a 1:00 game, noon game Central. Maybe the Falcons don't show up. Maybe they look at the Cowboys as, they're kind of don't have Micah in that. They're dead in the water. And maybe the Cowboys come out hot and surprise and keep the game close. Give me the Falcons 24, Cowboys 17.
Okay. Covering the spread there too easily. Sod 5-2. You started out 5-0 picking all Cowboys. Then you pick the Lions, and then you picked the 49ers last week. So 5-2, got a 1-game lead.
Wait. How did he start out 5-0 only picking the Cowboys? How does that make sense?
No, he's saying I picked the Cowboys for 5 straight.
First time.
5 straight.
5-0.
Sorry.
Yeah. But he was 3-2 in that stretch.
Yeah. I look, I saw this stat. There's one team in the NFL with 2 500-yard receivers, and that's the Atlanta Falcons with London and Mooney. This would be a great week to get Bland back. But Micah, and John and I were talking about this at practice today, and it's to John's credit. Like, there's just no pass rush, and like you can get Bland back, but it's still not going to help a whole lot in the back end if you can't get any pass rush. And Kirk Cousins, like, I remember all the conversations a few weeks ago, like how limited he is. He's not lining up at all under center, and like he's all in the shotgun. He's limited, but if the Cowboys can't get a pass rush, I don't really have any faith that even Bland returning, which is more likely than Micah, is going to help. So with all that being said, I'm taking the Falcons 31, Cowboys 21.
Kalen Carson is also going to be excited.
Yes.
Affect your pick?
No.
Not at all. The other thing is the Falcons have the least sacks of any team in the NFL. Bottom 5 in pressures. Their fans are clamoring for them to go get a pass rusher. They're trade for someone, whoever it may be. I just, we will talk to you Sunday afternoon, I guess is what I'm saying. Live from Atlanta. Get your picks and predictions in over on the Discord server. One Star Cowboys Podcast Discord server. Get in there. We have an in-game chat and all that stuff. If you predict the final score correctly, you will win our money. Just put it that way. Must have Venmo. I said it. Spotify, Apple, or you can get it most places you can get your podcast. Give us a 5-star review if you would. Tell a friend. Share it on social media. We like it when you do that. And now you can always holler at us on social media. For Father John Machota and Saad Youssef over at The Athletic, be checking out their work. Go ahead and check out the Mad About Movies podcast with Kent Garrison as well. I am Kevin KT Turner. We'll talk to you Sunday afternoon live from Atlanta on the One Star Cowboys podcast.
8 weeks in, and still some of you have not got me the $20 for the jersey.